power to pardon people amid reports he is considering presidential pardon for family members, aides, and even himself. In our very first story, the Development Action Association, an implementing partner of the Sustainable Fisheries Management Project of USAID, is promoting oyster production as an alternative source of income for residents of Chokome and its environs in the wake of depleted fish stock. The association is doing this by planting mangroves along the Denso estuary to improve the ecological system convenient for oyster and other fish species.
Chokome, Tetegu and Botiano are fishing communities within the South municipality in the Greater Accra region. Fishermen returning from fishing are obvious of the meager catch, but this is no longer news as fishermen here, like everywhere else in the country, are coping with the situation of depleted fish stock. These are juvenile fishes caught with small net sizes which have been banned. One of the reasons fishing is no longer lucrative. The economic implications are telling on the community, women and children the worst affected. Harvesting of crabs, shrimps and oysters are an alternative venture for the economic sustenance. The Denso estuary serves as a great opportunity for such venture because of the mangroves, which is the habitat of the variety of fauna species such as oysters, gastropods, crabs, birds and fish. Unfortunately, however, the mangrove is widely depleted, posing a serious threat to fisheries in the area. Mangrove wood is resistant to rots and insects, making it extremely valuable since it is used for construction material as well as for fuel.
All over Ghana, mangroves are overexploited for many reasons. Some use it for firewood, some use it for the Akeja fishing method, others also sell it to get money. There's a belief along the coastal communities that if you smoke fish with mangrove, it tastes better than any other wood, and that is why they prefer using the mangroves.
The Development Action Association, an implementing partner of the Sustainable Fisheries Management Project, SFMP, funded by the USAID, has begun a mangrove plantation project along the Denso estuary in Chokome inside Botiano. Over 1,000 seedlings planted so far.
Mangrove is so important because it helps or it provides an area for the fish to spawn. So if the mangroves are available, there will be more fish, and then the livelihood of the community will also be enhanced.
The traditional authority as well as the community folk fully support the project.
It is the interest of the family to give the land to them so that they should plant it new. So that in the previous days, how we're supposed to see the river, then the benefit from the mangroves, it will come back.
The fishermen and fishmongers believe the project will improve their lives.
As they catch more, they can be able to make more income, and this will help them to sustain their lives and take their children to school.
And if we are able to restore the Ramsar site, then it means that we are restoring the fish, the crabs, the oysters, and everything that we can find here as an alternative livelihood, and at the same time as a business. So they can rely on it and then feed their family.
So this is obviously a best practice that can be replicated in coastal communities across the country to provide an alternative source of livelihood for fisherfolk as we try to rebuild the depleting fish stock in the ocean. Catherine Frimpoma, TV3 News, Chokome.
Let's remain in the coastal area, and some fisherfolks from Adanfor have attacked the police after 13 people were arrested for engaging in illegal fishing activities. The Anti-Fisheries Watch Committee from Azizanya also seized one generator, an outboard motor, and other fishing gears.
The Ada areas of the Greater Accra coastal zones remained volatile and divided over the ban on illegal fishing. Fishermen engaged in illegal fishing activities have sworn not to back down, while watch committees have also resolved to stop them. In the early hours of Thursday, the committee from Azizanya encountered a light fishing crew from Adafon. 4 of the 5 light fishing boats escaped arrest, but the task force arrested one with 13 crew members. The boat, together with 1 generator, 1 outboard motor, and other fishing gears, were also seized. The situation turned chaotic as the fisher folks massed up at the police station in a bid to prevent the detention of the suspect and the seized equipment. The police reportedly fired tear gas to repel the mob.
Right, you're on News 360. Let's do some other stories. Now, the appointment of the former National Vice Chairman of the ruling New Patriotic Party as the board chairman of the Lands Commission has generated a huge debate over the legality of his appointment. The Chief of Staff, Madam Akusia Frema-Osei-Opare, communicated the appointment to Stephen Ntim in a letter dated July 18, 2017. But his appointment is grounded under a repealed law. Now, the Chief of Staff used the repealed 1994 Act instead of the Lands Commission Act 2008 Act 767. In the letter, the Chief of Staff stated that pursuant to Section 5(1) of the Lands Commission Act 1994 Act 483, the President of the Republic of Ghana, in consultation with the Council of State, hereby appoints you as the Chairman of the Governing Board of the Ghana Lands Commission. However, the Chairman and other members of the Commission are appointed under Section 8 of the Lands Commission Act 2008-767 by the 1994 Act, cites Section 5, and it remains under whether the Chief of Staff will withdraw the letter for his appointment or not. All right, we have Justice Stremsai, who is also a law lecturer, and he is on Skype right now. We'll be speaking to him to get his opinion on this issue. Good evening, Justice. I can't hear you properly now. I think we still have to work on the sound of Justice Sai, who is on Skype right now, as you can see, and we will work on the sound aspect of our spiked connection to Justice Sai, and as soon as we're able to correct that, I'm sure we will bring that interview to you. Now, hello again. Let's go back to Justice Stremsai and talk about the appointment of Stephen Ntim. Good evening, Justice. Now let's go back to the story. The appointment of the former National Vice Chairman of the ruling New Patriotic Party as the board chairman of the Lands Commission has generated a huge debate over the legality of his appointment. The Chief of Staff, Madam Akusia Frema-Osei-Opare, communicated the appointment to Stephen Ntim in a letter dated July 18, 2017. But his appointment is grounded under a repealed law. So we have Justice Stremsai, who is a law lecturer, and he has joined us via Skype. So if you can hear me, good evening, Justice Stremsai.
Yeah, good evening, and good evening to your listeners.
Right, I'm sure you're well aware of the issue. What does it mean for the appointment of the governing board chair who's been appointed under an old law?
Well, I'm not sure if the appointment was done under an old law. The Lands Commission was created by the 1992 Constitution under Article 258, which is under Chapter 21. Then its governing board was also established by the Constitution as well. So, and the appointment procedure, if I read the letter from the Chief of Staff, which says the appointment was in consultation with the Council of State. And that is exactly what the Constitution requires under Chapter 21. So, I do not see. Now, the challenge here, what we seem to have is a situation where the Act, Land Commission Act of 1994 was cited as the authority for the appointment, when in fact that act was repealed by the 1998. Now, what we need to do is to go beyond the citation of 1994 and see if anything was done in substance, which is different from what ought to be done under the prescriptions of the 1992 Constitution. You see, the provision of the 1994 Act, which is Section 5, is exactly the same provision which you find in the 1998 Act, which repealed the 1994. So, in substance, there is no difference between what ought to be done in accordance with law and what was actually done. So, what we have here is a situation where we can say is a clerical, error, which doesn't go to the substance of what has been done. And so, at law, we have what we call a nominal differences, and then we have substantial differences. In terms of nominal, what we mean is that the name has changed, but if substance means that substance, we have to go to the substance of the issue. I do not think it would be a case where a court of law would invalidate the appointment merely because of the citation of a law which is repealed. What the court would be looking at is what was actually done, or what was done in fact. Was it in accordance with what ought to be done under law, or it should be in accordance with some other things? So if the court conducts the substantive test rather than the nominal test, I think the conclusion here will be the same, because, like I said, the provision of the old law is the same provision that is under the new law. And as a matter of fact, even if there was no law at all in terms of the Act, you could still rely on the Constitution, which creates these offices, and how the person who occupied the office could be appointed. So I didn't see much about the debate as far as the misnomer is concerned.
Yeah, all right. So if you can hear me, you are saying that it is a clerical error, right? So
very much.
Should she withdraw the letter and issue a new one just to avoid future litigations?
That would be advised. I don't know about avoidance of future litigation. I don't know about the success of such litigation, if any. But I think what we have here is clearly a clerical error, which probably could be corrected by merely replacing the letter, or perhaps in situations, what happens is sometimes you can actually pick a pen and then draw a line through it and then sign to say that, yes, you have corrected it. In substance, when you go to court, you will not be questioning the nominal test. You'll be faced with a substantive, or what we call the substantive test, rather than the misnomer.
All right.
And let me add that the appointment could actually be done without citing any law, and you couldn't actually set it aside because no law has been referred to. So long as what has been done was done in accordance with law, I think it is valid.
Right. We're grateful, Justice Shremsai. He's a law lecturer, and he was commenting on the reportedly appointment of Stephen Ntim under an old law, which is being disputed right now. According to him, it was just a clerical error.
News 360 Skype interview is brought to you by MTN. Everywhere you go.
Let's now go to the camp of the PNC, where the National Executive Council of the People's National Convention has suspended its General Secretary, Atiq Mohammed, indefinitely on grounds of poor execution of his mandate. The party took the decision after a crunch National Executive Council meeting held at the party's headquarters in Accra.
The meeting traveled over a 7-hour period and was characterized with intermittent misunderstandings between some executives of the National Executive Council.
You went to Ibrahim Mama. What were you not looking for? What were you not looking for? You put your CV to the president. You were begging on your knees. They should consider you. I told the president shouldn't give me time.
According to the communications director of the party, Emmanuel Wilson Jr., the National Executive Council of the party took the decision after an assessment of the party's abysmal performance at the last year's polls. He again explained the National Executive Committee analyzed the performance of 3 top officials of the party as part of the party's restructuring mechanism.
The Constitution says that National Executive Council is the second highest decision body. Any body that can, or any organ in the party that can overturn the decision of National Executive Council is Congress, not court.
The leader and 2016 presidential candidate of the party, Dr. Edward Mahama, described the decision as fair.
Quorum was formed, and I think it indicates the unity and vibrancy of the PNC.
According to the party, the Deputy General Secretary of the party takes over as the Acting General Secretary of the party.
Joining me in the studio is the National Chairman of the PNC, Bernard Mona. Good evening and thanks for your time.
I don't know whether I can respond. Good evening as well. I think it's a sad evening for me, sad evening for our democracy, and sad evening for development in our People's National Convention.
I understand you did storm out of a NEC meeting today. What triggered this?
There was a NEC meeting to discuss 3 items. To look at an action plan for the party for the rest of the year, to look at a 3-year strategic plan, and to look at recent happenings in relation to the appointment of His Excellency Edward Mahama as Ambassador at Large. And because we took this, I thought that the General Secretary should bring an outline of the programs so that we can circulate to all NEC members, at least on the issue of the 3-year strategic plan for the party. We discussed a number of issues pertaining to an action or some actions, 5 main actions that the party needs to take leading to the end of the year, and then we'll start next year. We talked about the Nkrumah, Igala, Liman lectures that we want to annualize, which we started some years back, and then of course we want to use the day that Liman was sworn in as president, that's 24th September, to do it. So we started looking at possibilities of getting some people to lead it. Then, when it came to the issue of the recent happenings, I explained that many members of our party would have seen in public domain that I was critical of the appointments of His Excellency Edward Mahama as Ambassador at Large, because the party was ambushed with that decision. And when indeed they asked Edward Mahama what that position was, he said, look, as of this evening, he didn't even know what roles the president will assign him to, and that he's still waiting for the president to tell him what he should do before he will be able to even say whether it is something he wants to work on or not. And that appeared a bit awkward for me, because you have accepted to be ambassador at large, you don't know the mandate that you are supposed to serve, yet you accepted it, and now you are waiting for the president since that day to now call you so as to tell you exactly what you need to do. Then all of a sudden he said that, look, he thinks that the problems of the party borders around indiscipline, and that 3 of us, myself, the General Secretary, and he, should be scrutinized by the National Executive Committee. So issues to discuss about your appointment, how you'll be able to work as leader of the party, and also serve as, what do we call it, ambassador at large, whether it will not conflict and what have you, were shelved cleverly by Dr. Edward Mahama, and then shifted that they should discuss the 3 of us. In the course of discussing the 3 of us, the General Secretary was made to make his case. I made my case and I said I can't be a judge in my own court, and therefore the first vice chairman must take over the chairing of the meeting from that point, because now I am a subject of discussion, and so I can make my case. And I said they should take it as my word. It was my responsibility as chairman to get Edward Mahama elected as president. All the constituencies, I assumed, did their work well. All the regions did their work well. The national executives of our party did his work well. And indeed, Edward Mahama did his work well. So who didn't do his work is the national chairman. I didn't do my work well. So I accept responsibility that I had power to make Edward Mahama president, so that he could then appoint Nanado as ambassador at large. But having failed to do so, then I accept responsibility and the consequences thereof.
Okay.
So I left the meeting, waiting for them to communicate to me, only for me to get a call from Dr. Edward Mahama that he was at the meeting, because I thought that all of us would leave. He was at the meeting, and they have told him to call me to tell me that the General Secretary has been suspended, but I have been asked to stay on as chairman, and he is asked to stay on as leader of the party, and he was hoping we work together. I have difficulty in superintending over something that I think is travesty of justice. The decision taken by the National Executive Committee of our party is not within the Constitution. We know how disciplinary issues are tackled. If any member of our party, particularly an officer of our party, is said to have misconducted himself, you constitute a disciplinary committee to look into the misconduct, report to NEC their findings, and NEC will then either accept or reject the decision of the disciplinary committee. Just to sit down today and suddenly say that you have dismissed the general secretary of the party or you have suspended him, for me is the lowest that we can go as a party. So, and I cannot be national chairman to see to this kind of injustice perpetuated. Because what has happened today has happened before in several instances. The general secretary's deputy has been dismissed in circumstances bizarre. Today the general secretary is dismissed. If I think that I am safe, tomorrow I will be dismissed. And I'm saying that it's not even about a personal fight. After all, I said that everybody should not be blamed for our not winning the elections. Edward Mahama cannot be blamed. I, Bernard Mona, I'm responsible for Edward Mahama not winning the elections. So I should rather be the one to be sacked or suspended. What you are saying,
are you going to resign as national chairman of
I will
PNC?
fight to ensure that Atik is given his rightful place as general secretary. Okay. And that I will not relent in my cause in order to get it done. I think that we can go on this path. Edward Mahama, can you be ambassador at large and still be a member of the PNC? Because the PNC is orchestrating strategies to oust President Nana Akufo-Addo in the next elections. Will you be advising Nana Addo on how he can continue to win elections, or you come and support the PNC to oust President Nana Akufo-Addo? If you come and support the PNC in its decision to oust Akufo-Addo so that the PNC presidential candidate will be president, you are not being honest to the president that you are serving.
So, Per, what you're telling us, Atik Mohammed's suspension is illegal?
It is invalid. It does not sit well with our constitution. And even before Atik may decide that he will resort to legal decisions, I will take up the matter. And I call back NEC to tell them that the decision does not sit with our constitution.
All right, thank you very much. I have been speaking to Bernard Mona. He is the national chairman of the PNC. Let's now go to the camp of the NDC, and officials say the party has learnt its lessons in opposition. The party's national deputy organizer, Mahdi Jibril, argues the NDC has discharged its mandate by keeping government on its toes.
The National Democratic Congress, NDC, lost power in 2016 elections to the New Patriotic Party, NPP. The party's leadership has since been mapping out various strategies to recapture power in 2020, but being in opposition for the past 6 months has obviously taught the party's leadership some lesson.
The position that we are in now is only to give us an opportunity to assess ourselves, what we didn't do right party-wise, when we are government, what we didn't do right as government.
The party leadership says for the past 6 months, the party members have protected the country's security even in the face of provocations from the members of the ruling New Patriotic Party.
We accepted the defeat without any argument. Without any argument. Even after that, when our people being attacked, our people were not fighting back. And that has allowed even some level of peace in this country.
At the parliamentary level, the party says it has kept government on its toes in terms of loan its contracts. The NDC says it also offers alternative to government on how it manages security, social and economic conditions in the country for the past months.
6 months, whatever the president started with the bust, we have shown that Ghanaians, somebody is doing something wrong. Issue of the vigilantes, we raised issues about it. When they took about the bones, we're talking about it. We're talking about it for Ghana. So we think that Once events roll on, we may raise those issues for the sake of Mother Ghana.
But a senior lecturer at Gimpa School of Public Service and Governance, Dr. Lord Mauku Yevuga, says the NDC has not done enough in opposition.
If you look at other democracies where we have the Westminster or the parliamentary system, the opposition is also government in waiting. Therefore, they have their programs already in place vis-a-vis that of the government. So the shadow ministers make sure that for every government department or agency, there's a responding analysis or alternative positions from the opposition. That we haven't seen.
Dr. Lord Mauko Yevuga, however, says the NDC has been a responsible opposition.
You're watching News 360 from the News Hub. Remember, you can get interactive with us, facebook.com/news on TV3, twitter.com/news on TV3.
Right, we have some other stories coming up for tonight, and this one says the chairperson of the Electoral Commission, Charlotte Osei, says Deputy Chairperson Georgina Opoku-Amankwah of the Commission illegally signed contracts worth over 40 million Ghana cedis without her approval. This was contained in a response to several allegations leveled against her by employees of the Commission, citing financial malfeasance. We'll bring you that story a little later on during the news. You're watching News 360, and still to come tonight.
Chairperson of the Electoral Commission accuses her deputy of signing contract worth over 40 million cedis without her approval.
And also later in the news, Hope for Stamres will tell you a story about how a 24-year-old struggles to overcome his greatest nemesis.
Coming up in international news, U.S. President Donald Trump says he has complete power to pardon people. Details coming up shortly. Hello again. Let's now go back to our earlier story. And Chairperson of the Electoral Commission, Charlotte Osei, says Deputy Chairperson Georgina Opoku-Amankwah of the Commission illegally signed contracts worth over 40 million cedis without her approval. This was contained in a response to several allegations leveled against her by employees of the Commission, citing financial malfeasance.
EC Chairperson Charlotte Osei has responded to the 27 allegations leveled against her, indicating there is no established case of fraud or abuse of office made against her. Principally, the EC Deputy Chair, Charlotte Osei, indicated Georgina Opoku-Amankwah illegally signed over 40 million cedis contract without the knowledge of the EC boss. The employees claim Madam Charlotte Osei, the chairperson of the Electoral Commission, on 30th June 2015 assumed office while still holding office as a board member of Ghana Reinsurance, a public company contrary to Article 44(4) of the 1992 Constitution. Charlotte Osei's response was that Ghana Reinsurance is a limited liability company with shares held by the government of Ghana. A non-executive director position is not a public office. The employees also claim the Commission signed a contract with Supertech Limited STL on the premise that the voters' registration exercise was going to be electoral area based. Upon assumption of office as the chairperson of the Commission, Charlotte Osei unilaterally abrogated the said contract without recourse to the same Commission. She single-handedly renegotiated the contract with a vendor without involvement of the members of the Commission, not even the deputies, to the tune of $21,999,592 without going through tender, contrary to the Public Procurement Act. In her response, the EC chair indicated the two deputy chairpersons signed two contracts with STL on May 6, 2015 for $22.3 million BVR and $16.4 million BVD. She insisted letters were written to Public Procurement Authority on May 15, 2015, seeking permission for sole sourcing after the contracts had been signed.
I'm sure there will be more on that story in subsequent news bulletins. You're watching News 360. And now, starting a stammering therapy early for young children can help them improve on their speech before it becomes a lifelong problem. Most people who stammer have faced a lot of humiliation, leading to loss of confidence. But there is hope for them to improve. Now, Asiedu Dartey looks at one of the interventions for stammerers.
It's really frustrating at work.
Stammering is a problem that affects the flow of speech. People who stammer stay longer on certain words than they should.
Most of these things comes with psychological effects.
They repeat words or part of words among others. These sometimes come with blinking of eyes rapidly, with their lips and jaw trembling as they struggle to speak. Those scientists don't fully understand why some people stammer. Boys are 3 times more likely to stammer than girls. About 5% of children ages 2 to 5 will develop some stammering during their childhood. Experts say there is no cure, but treatments can help.
Stammering or stuttering comes with a lot of difficulties for persons who stammer, but there is some kind of support for them to aid them in their communication and to also boost their confidence. But a lot of people are not aware of the services of speech and language therapists.
Intervention ranges from stammering therapy, electronic devices, and self-help groups. Robinson Vosa is a stammerer from birth. His greatest fears whilst growing up was attending class sessions which involved reading, introducing himself or involving himself in an argument, and this had a great impact on his confidence.
Way back in school, I try to hide from English because I know whenever it's time for English out, it's either I would be asked to read out or say something. So anytime it's time for English, I just try to either absent myself or to hide.
Robinson mostly stammers on the P, K and S word.
Peter, penicillin, and we also have Papa.
24-year-old Robinson is seeking the help of a speech and language therapist. Nana Ikuya Owusu is one of the 4 speech and language therapists in the country.
I think speech and language therapy itself is a relatively new discipline, it's a relatively new service, and not that many people are aware of it, and in particular people who stammer.
Her specialty is in stammering. How does she help stammerers improve?
For some people who stammer, they also talk very fast, so helping you to slow down with your speech. And then we also have something we call soft tuck, and it is helping you to release the tension in your mouth so that you are not being too tense with the sounds when it gets there.
She then comes up with strategies to help her client, but that even depends on individual specific needs.
People who stammer, who present, who do presentations, who have said that when they are introducing themselves, they might say something about the fact that they stammer. So I am so and so, I'm going to talk about this, and I just want you to know that I stammer. And so in the course of my presentation, I might stammer, and that immediately releases tension.
Nana Ikuya noted there is hope for stammerers, but urged people closer to them to be also well informed about stammering to complement the efforts of the speech and language therapists. Robinson shares his experience after the session.
Yes, everything I've learned how to overcome my stammering through strategies like pressing on the
words I find it's difficult to say, and then also I try to pause on the words I know of stammer on.
For him, he wouldn't have gone through the level of psychological experience he did and urge all persons who stammer to seek help.
There are a lot of things that we need to do. There are a lot of events, training sessions that we need to organize, a lot of research that we need to undertake. But sometimes when the funding is not forthcoming, it's places a hold on some of the things that we want to do.
The Kolebu Teaching Hospital currently runs 2 clinic days. Cost for initial assessment is 100 cedis and 60 cedis for subsequent visits. The Ghana Stammerers Association have supported members improve in diverse ways. President of the association, Elias Apreku, said members through the association's activities improve their confidence, sense of belonging, which was a major challenge they couldn't deal with. But with a membership of 257 across the country and still counting, President of the association says they are not better positioned financially to be more effective. It's time as a country for us to look at issues that affect people who stammer and support them. AC Benewanyami TV3, Accra.
Indeed, there is hope for persons who stammer. Let's now go to the northern region, where mental health authorities have recommended love, affection and care for mental patients to help in their recovery. But how far can you go with a relative who is violent and hostile? In this report, Zubaida Ismail spent some time with some mentally ill persons at the Shekinah Hospital in Tamale.
The Shekinah Hospital, located in Tamale, is home to several mentally challenged persons in the region. In the absence of a psychiatry facility, the Shekinah Hospital offers love and care for many. Between 15 and 30 mentally challenged persons are sheltered here after being rejected by their kinsmen. Though some leave after reporting here daily, majority over the years have remained in the facility under the care of the late mad doctor, his wife Mariam Abdullahi and staff. Patients are accommodated in single rooms. Though some keep their environment tidy, others do not, and the patients are very welcoming. On arrival of any visitor at the mental wing of the hospital, he or she is welcomed by the ever-playful Sakina. She gives some coins to visitors and recites some words which cannot be understood. She has stayed here for 5 years and left briefly when the owner died. And thus, as the entertainer of the house, Ndo, he will thrill and excite visitors. Though it is difficult to grasp every word in his rap, he is happy with his performance.
You are rapping. Great, thy kingdom come.
Some patients, however, sit isolated all day. The arrival of visitors do not matter to them. The facility does not give patients medicines. The only moment medication is administered is when they exhibit signs of aggressiveness. So I ask, what is the magic?
For instance, one morning when we were going on the rounds, he asked me, can you get me a wife? I laughed and I pointed at one lady, Zulaiha. I said, I'll give Zulaiha to you. Then he agreed. So every morning when where is my wife? You know, so you see that they are like, you can feel, they feel accepted and they feel loved. So they feel now I'm also part of them and I'm a human being.
What is the magical moment dealing with a mentally challenged person?
We talk with them, we chat with them, we have fun with them.
The Chief Executive of the Mental Health Authority, Dr. Akwesi Osei, advocates love, affection and care in the recovery process. He encouraged relatives to provide the needed affection.
If you go to a health facility, whether mental health or general health facility, and you are treated or your ward is treated, and it comes back, accept them with warmth and love. That love you show them will enable them to remain well. But they come back and the least thing you are yourselves provoking them, oh, his illness has come back, he loves the illness has come back, he is sad his illness has come back, that will actually precipitate the relapse.
You're on News 360, and when we return, it will be time for sports with Thierry Nyan in your television.
Time for sports news now with me, Thierry Nyan, right here on News 360. Now we start off with the Ghana Premier League. Now, Asiedu Stars moved to first place on the league table after a goalless draw against Medeama Sporting Club at the Takwa TNA Park. The game, which was earlier threatened to be boycotted by the fans of Medeama, became a good spectacle for the fans of Takwa and the travelling ones. Both sides created numerous chances but were unable to convert them. Yawansa and Joseph Ado, the goalkeepers for both sides on the day, provided wonderful saves to keep the game barren right to the end. Now the result means that Asiedu Stars is now top of the Ghana Premier League table with a point above Wafa. Wafa rather do have 2 games in hand, with their game against Kotoko getting postponed. So that is the first round of fixtures for the match day 24. The other round of fixtures are going to be played on Sunday. Let's move away from that. Let's go straight to the Black Stars. And its coach, Kwesi Appiah, has ended his stay in the United States of America after the Black Stars friendly games against USA and Mexico a few weeks ago. Appiah took the opportunity to monitor a few Ghanaian players in the North American region as part of his promise as Ghana coach to bring in fresh players and build a bigger national pool. Appiah's first stop was in Kansas City, where he watched former Liberty Professionals talisman Latif Blessing score a stunning brace for Sports in Kansas City. The Black Stars coach also met former Asante Kotoko defender Gideon Ba of New York Red Bulls and DC United quartet of Patrick Nyako Lloyd, Sam Kofi Opare and Chris Odoye Achem. His final stop was in Columbus, interacting with quartet Mohamed Abu, Jonathan Mensah, Lalas Abubakar and Harrison Afo, who play for MLS side Columbus Crew. So let's still remain with English teams. Manchester City have agreed a £52 million deal for AS Monaco defender Benjamin Mendy. The 23-year-old France left-back, who joined Monaco from Marseille last summer, played 34 times for the club last season and helped them to their first league title in 17 years. His fee would eclipse the initial £45 million paid by City for right-back Kyle Walker earlier this month and a £47.5 million deal for centre-back John Stones last summer. City have not yet confirmed the deal, but according to sources in England, a deal has been agreed between Manchester City and French giants AS Monaco. And then to some weightlifting. TV3's Ghana Strongest continued today with one athlete expected to go out of the competition. TV3 took it its annual reality show, Ghana Strongest, to Fadama as all 5 athletes geared up for the annual event that actually none of them disappointed except one. Now, the athletes were made to compete in the squat with a weight of 240 kilograms and was a test of the upper body of the athletes, which Mustafa Ahen came on top. The duck walk was next with the weight of 90 kg on both sides in a time of 90 seconds. So it still went on until Victor Ampofo, was the man who actually came out of that particular competition. Only 4 of them now march on to the final. I'm talking about the likes of Ahmed Boache, Mustafa Ahen, Damian Smith and Godfred Akobila. These are the men who are going to be making the final of TV3's Ghana Strongest Season 6. So let's move away from that and go straight to some athletics news. And Usain Bolt and his, promising career, he's never really shown that he's over and done with. He's still going on as masterfully as he began his career. He's definitely not a finished article. At the Diamond League, he has again won 100 meters, and this time around did it under 10 seconds. The first time he's done that this particular year. He did that with 9.45 seconds, beating Isaiah of United States of America, who actually completed his in 9.98 seconds. That means that Usain Bolt is going to be going into IAAF knowing that it's going to be his final competition, and he should finish that on the high. The 30-year-old Jamaican is doing everything possible to make sure he remains a name that is never forgotten in the world of athletics. That's exactly what brings an end to the Sports Bulletin. My name is Thierry Nyan. We'll bring you some more sports news subsequently right here on TV3. I'm out of here.
Right, U.S. President Donald J. Trump has insisted he has the complete power to pardon people amid reports he is considering presidential pardons for family members, aides, and even himself. Also, a Democratic Party spokesman has called the report extremely disturbing, and the U.S. authorities are probing possible collusion between the Trump team and Russia. Intelligence agencies think Russia tried to help Mr. Trump to power.
And coming up on entertainment, that tomorrow we'll bring you an exclusive with Mark Jordan Amate. You've been wondering where he has been all these
Absolutely,
years.
haven't seen him in a while.
Also, Arai has the details. And that's it for News 360. Thanks so much for watching. I am Portia Gabo.
And I'm Issa Morning. Have a wonderful evening.